Okay, we're back for session number 4 on the Exeter campaign using ChatGPT. Slight adjustment on the visuals. I have both the chat here and the character sheets on a separate path. So that way it's a little easier to jump in between both characters, and also you guys can see the chat. Let's continue. There's been some adjustments to the instructions, mainly campaign notes and uh, session notes. Few other little tweaks with the combat, etc. Mostly minor adjustments, but I can always, if you guys demand it enough, I will post the updated instructions every time I make updates. So let's begin. Where we left off, basically, we took a little rest so that our friend Brock can heal the back to pretty much full health. And let's see what happens now. Okay, we are ready to continue. What happens?
Time of day, late morning, around 11:45 a.m. With the kobold threat neutralized and a brief rest behind you, the group regathers their gear and prepares to venture deeper into the Flame Tongue mines. The path ahead narrows slightly, forcing everyone into a tighter formation. The dripping sound grows louder, and the metallic tang in the air sharpens, suggesting a significant water source, or blood further in. Kalen scans the darkness. All right, let's stay sharp. Mars, you're still on point. Brock, try not to charge off this time. Her tone carries a hint of dry humour, but her focus remains steady. The path splits ahead, with one tunnel sloping upward to the left and another descending steeply to the right. Faint claw marks are etched into the walls of both paths, though the air from the downward tunnel feels colder and more oppressive. Skill check, survival DC 13, to determine which path the kobolds are more likely using. Perception in D14, to detect any subtle signs of danger or activity from either tunnel. What's the next move? Let me know if Mars takes the lead again or if someone else steps up.
Mars will do both. We'll roll survival and perception. So survival is a 16. Perception is a 6. Okay. Survival roll of 16, perception roll of 6, both from Mars. All right. Let's see which tunnel's which.
Time of day, late morning, around 11:50 a.m. Mars inspects the claw marks and the surrounding terrain closely. His survival skills reveal that the kobolds are most likely using the downward tunnel to the right. The colder air and steeper descent align with their preference for darker, more enclosed spaces. However, his perception roll doesn't reveal any immediate signs of danger. If there are traps or enemies lying in wait, they remain hidden for now. Kalen nods at Mars's report. Downward it is. Watch your footing, everyone. If this path gets too steep, we'll need to slow our pace. The downward tunnel looms ahead, colder and darker than the previous passage. Faint echoes of distant movement, too far to identify, can just barely be heard. Does the party proceed cautiously, send Mars ahead again to scout, or choose another tactic?
What if we split up here? Crazy thought. I don't know if our AI Dungeon Master will track everything that these other three characters are doing, these other three NPCs. Most likely will focus obviously on us, but we won't know what the other three characters are doing. They might pop in later in the campaign. So I'm thinking that perhaps we should split up to cover more ground. I think Mars will make that suggestion. Let's see what the team says. Before venturing down, Mars interjects and offers the advice perhaps the party should split up. Mars and Brock take one route, the other three take the other. Let's see how it will handle this. More importantly, what Kaylin will think.
Time of day, late morning, around 11:55 a.m. Mars raises a hand, his tone cautious but firm. Before we commit to the downward tunnel, maybe we should consider splitting up. Brock and I could take one route, and the rest of you could check the other. It might give us a better chance of covering ground and spotting threats before they spot us. Kaelin immediately frowns, shaking her head. Splitting up in hostile territory is risky. If one group runs into trouble, it could be the end of them before the others even know it. Thrain grunts in agreement, his warhammer resting on his shoulder. Stick together. A party that's split is a party that falls. Lareth, however, seems intrigued. It's not the worst idea. Covering both paths could give us better intel, but we'd need a way to signal each other fast if something goes wrong. Kaelin looks back at Mars and Brock. If we do this, we'll need clear signals and a plan to regroup fast. Are you sure splitting up is worth the risk? Does Mars insist on splitting the group, or does he agree to keep everyone together? If you split, how do you propose dividing the group and communicating?
That's true. How do we communicate? I don't believe I have any magical method of doing so, like a pet rock talking to it through the other and then through the other end. Let's see here. What spells do I have? I don't think I have anything like that. Yeah, nothing really. Okay, so Mars probably, maybe Brock can step in here. He's not the sprightest, but perhaps he has his moments. So, looking at his intelligence, it's not terrible. It's pretty average actually. Mars is the smarter one based on those stats. But I think Brock will step in here. Surprisingly, Brock disagrees with Mars, insisting we should stick with the team, perhaps splitting up later if there are more than three paths. Or three paths. I don't know why it said three packs.
Time of day, late morning, around 11:55 a.m. Brock plants his great axe firmly on the ground and shakes his head, his voice resolute. I'm all for bold moves, but splitting up now isn't smart, Mars. These mines are crawling with trouble, and we're stronger together. Maybe if we run into something too big for all of us, we think about it then. For now, we stick as a team. Kaelin smirks, clearly surprised but pleased. Wise words, Brock. Didn't expect you to be the voice of reason here. Thrain nods. Glad we agree. Let's see what's down that tunnel, together. Lareth shrugs but readies his short bow. Fine by me. Let's move. The group proceeds toward the downward tunnel, the air growing colder with every step. The metallic tang sharpens into an unmistakable scent of blood, and the faint echoes of movement grow slightly louder. Skill check. Roll, stealth 14. As a group to maintain a quiet approach. Everyone's rolls will determine the group's overall stealth.
Okay.
Let me know Mars's and Brock's rolls, and I'll calculate the rest.
If there's code being used for for Python virtual dice rolls, then we'll probably have that usual issue with the voice playback. But he wants a stealth roll from both of us, so let's do Mars first. He has obviously the advantage. Critical 20, nice, 20 plus 5, and then the disadvantage 10. We'll have to roll again. 12. Okay, not. I mean, the DC is 14, but as long as Mars has a critical, I think we're good. Mars has a critical plus 5, while Brock, disadvantage, roll of 12. So this is where I'm going to turn off the mic and let it do the dice rolls using code. So, and for anybody who's not familiar with GPT or has general knowledge how to use it, this is a common feature where in your chat you can enable, or it has code, it can run virtual code, uh, Python code within it, and do these dice rolls, which I have it as an instruction to use Python for virtual dice rolls, but only obviously for NPCs. We do all the rolling for our characters. And I think that's also a feature you can disable or enable on custom GPTs, which we're not using. So Let's play it back if it works.
It seems there's a technical issue preventing me from
Oh,
completing the stealth rolls for the other party members.
okay.
Based on Mars's critical success and Brock's solid roll of 12, disadvantage, the group is already off to a strong start. If you'd like, I can estimate the group's stealth based on these rolls or attempt the calculations again. Let me know how you'd like to proceed.
It did roll, it just didn't output it. Let's go with the results from Brock and Mars. We'll just nudge it along. There we go.
Group stealth results, success. Thanks to Mars's flawless, silent movements and Brock's surprisingly cautious steps despite his armor, the group manages to maintain a quiet approach. Any minor noises from Brock are easily drowned out by the echoing ambience of the mines. The team moves deeper into the tunnel, the air growing colder and heavier with each step. Time of day, noon, 12 p.m. The downward tunnel opens into a larger cavern, faintly illuminated by glowing fungal growths clinging to the walls. Pools of stagnant water dot the uneven floor, and a faint metallic glimmer can be seen partially submerged in one of the pools. However, the scene isn't empty. 3 more kobolds skitter near the edges of the cavern, seemingly guarding the space. One of them carries a small horn slung across its chest, a clear signaler for reinforcements. Kalen whispers, "They've got a horn. If they use it, we'll have a lot more company. What's the call? Snipe the signaler or charge in fast to silence them? What will the party do next?"
Okay, so at least we're reaching a large cavern, not just these tunnels for the past couple of sessions here. But I think this will have to be a risky move. We can probably snipe out the signaler if possible. Mars will evaluate if he can take out the singular, signaler. This will be a skill check, obviously.
Time of day, noon, 12 p.m.
Mars.
Mars narrows his eyes, sizing up the kobold carrying the horn. It's within his longbow range, about 40 feet away, standing near the edge of one of the glowing pools. The kobold seems unaware of the group's presence, nervously glancing around the cavern but not looking directly toward you. Skill check, optional. Mars can roll, Insight, DC 12, to determine if the signaler is likely to flee or blow the horn immediately when attacked. If Mars chooses to attack directly, roll for his longbow attack, 1d20 plus 5. Let me know what he decides.
Let's roll for insight. That will not beat the DC. Rolled insight of 10. It is optional, so probably won't hinder much. Oops.
Mars's insight roll, 10, partial success. Mars studies the signaler and concludes that while it appears nervous, its reaction will likely depend on how the situation unfolds. If it feels overwhelmed or under immediate threat, it might try to flee or blow the horn. However, it's not entirely clear if the kobold would prioritize self-preservation over calling reinforcements. Kalen leans in, whispering, "If you think you can take it out cleanly, do it. We can't let that horn sound." What's the plan? Will Mars take the shot or suggest another approach?
Partial success. I like that. That is a trait that DMs completely have the authority to do based on rolls. If it's like blackjack or it's closer to the threshold, well, I guess it would be opposite, rolling over and then closer to number the critical. Never mind. But what I'm basically trying to say is that even if it's within steps of the DC, the DM could, give a small favor or a push or a perk, even though it's a partial success. This is clearly a method, the mechanic empowered by the Apocalypse system, where it's a 2d6 and 7 through 9 is a partial success, 10 plus is a success, 12 plus is a critical, 6 or less is a complete failure with consequences. So there is that. And I really do like the Powered by the Apocalypse system. So I like the bell curve of the 2D or 3d6 kind of games. But going back to playing, I've been playing D20 for a couple weeks now since stemming away from other dice systems. It's refreshing. I've started playing D&D year and a half ago, and it was D20. So just in this manner too, using AI, and it's kind of like I took a big U-turn, or like a complete 180, like a roundabout back to my roots, I guess. But that's yeah, partial success. I do like that, and it's nice to see that an AI is using that type of mechanic. But sorry for the tangent. All right, let's go back to here. I think I will take the shot. Mars will take the shot per Kalen's advice, and will pull out the longbow and print and ready the bow. And print. I was trying to say prepare, but then I skipped print. He pulls out his old copier. Roll
Mars's
for
attack
attack.
with longbow.
Oh.
Mars knocks an arrow with practiced ease, drawing the string back as he takes careful aim at the kobold signaller. The cavern is still, the
Nice.
faint glow of the fungal
22.
growths casting eerie shadows as Mars steadies his breath. Roll for attack, 1d20 plus 5 for the longbow, and let me know the result.
Attack roll of 22.
Mars's attack roll 22 hit. The arrow flies through the dim air with deadly precision, striking the kobold signaller before it can react. The horn it clutches slips from its grasp as it stumbles. Roll for damage, 1d8 plus 3 for the longbow, and let me know the total.
Damage of 6. Oh, of course, because it has some violence in it.
Mars's damage, 6 total. The arrow slams into the kobold signaler's chest, sending it staggering back with a strangled cry. It collapses to the ground, clutching at the wound, and the horn falls from its limp hand. The creature twitches weakly before going still, silenced before it could call for reinforcements. The other 2 kobolds whip their heads around in alarm, chattering frantically in Draconic as they search for the source of the attack. They grip their crude weapons, preparing to defend themselves but clearly shaken by the sudden loss of their signaler. Kalen nods in approval. Nice shot, Mars. Let's clean up the rest before they get any bright ideas. Initiative time. Roll for Mars and Brock's initiative, and I'll roll for the kobolds and allies to determine the turn order.
If the
Let me know
flow
their results.
works. So, ooh, night and day. All right, so we have 19 and 6. Okay. Mars 19, Brock 6. Okay, we'll see how it does here. I will mute the mic or mute the playback. Yeah, it's having trouble with dice rolls today, so that is not good. I can probably refresh the page. Let me try that. Okay, I had to try again, but it just cannot do Python rolls today, so looks like it improvised. Let's play back what it says.
It seems there's still an issue with rolling for the other party members. Given Mars's strong initiative roll of 19, we'll assume he acts first, followed by Kalen, the kobolds, and then the others. Proposed initiative order: 1 Mars 19, 2 Kalen, 3 kobolds, 4 Lareth, 5 Thrain, 6 Brock, 6. Let me know if this works, or if you'd like to adjust the sequence further.
No, that's fine.
Mars can take his next action.
Mars will obviously use his longbow once again. Mars will fire his longbow, attack roll of 15. There are no stats though, which is part of my instructions, so we'll see if it may populate here. Hoping it does.
Mars's attack roll 15. Mars swiftly nocks another arrow and takes aim at one of the remaining kobolds. The arrow flies true, streaking through the air toward its target.
Nice.
Roll for damage, 1d8 plus 3 for the longbow, and let me know the total.
Damage of 9. Damage of 9. Not image of 9. If it does, it'll generate an image. Okay, good. Which might be cool, seeing the bow flying over
Mars's
the
attack
arrow.
roll 15.
The arrow flying
Mars
over the bow.
swiftly nocks another arrow and takes aim at one of the remaining kobolds. The arrow flies true, streaking through the air toward its target.
So we're running into problems here. Let's see what happens.
Mars's damage, 9 total. The arrow strikes the kobold squarely in the chest with devastating force. The creature lets out a brief, pained shriek before collapsing to the ground, lifeless. Only one kobold remains now, its resolve visibly shaken as it glances nervously around the cavern. Kalen's turn. Kalen moves swiftly into position, daggers in hand, and targets the remaining kobold. Rolling for her attacks.
Okay. So it seems it won't be able to roll today, so we might just have to let it choose the numbers based on prior. But let's not use Python for rolling just for the session. Perhaps use another method.
Understood. Let's roll manually for Kalen's attacks. Kalen's dagger attack rolls. First attack, rolling 1d20 plus 5, 14 plus 5 equals 19, hit. Second attack, rolling 1d20 plus 5, 12 plus 5 equals 17, hit. Both of Kalen's dagger strikes hit their mark. Rolling for damage, first dagger, 1d4 plus 3, rolling plus 3 equals 6 damage. Second dagger, 1d4, rolling, total damage, 8. Kalen's twin strikes cut into the last kobold with precision, and the creature crumples to the ground lifeless. The cavern falls silent once more. Kalen steps back, wiping her blades clean. That should do it. Nicely handled, everyone. Combat over. The area is now safe, with faint echoes of dripping water as the only remaining sound. What does the group do next? Loot the kobolds, investigate the cavern, or press forward?
Let's investigate the cavern. We'll investigate the cavern. Mars will say this is the first big spot we've been to in these mines. We should take a look around. I should say an open area. Let's see, actions, abilities.
Time of day, around 12:15. Mars surveys the dimly lit cavern, the faint glow of fungal growths casting eerie reflections on the pools of stagnant water. This is the first big spot we've come across in these mines. We should take a closer look. There might be something important here. Kalen nods, motioning for everyone to spread out while remaining cautious. Good thinking. Watch for anything unusual, traps, hidden passages, even signs of what they've been guarding. Skill checks, choose one or multiple. Investigation, DC 13, to search for hidden items or mechanisms. Perception, 15, to spot anything unusual in the environment.
Survival.
Survival, to identify signs of recent kobold activity or tracks leading further. Let me know who rolls for what, and their results.
I think Mars will do Perception DC 15, and Brock has a decent survival, so we'll do that. Okay, so Mars Perception, 12, okay, 16 total. Survival, not bad, okay. So 16, 20, okay. Mars got a Perception roll of 16. Brock got a survival roll of an unnatural 20.
Time of day. Mars scans the cavern with his sharp eyes, while Brock uses his instincts and training to study the environment closely. Mars's perception, 16. Mars notices that the glowing fungal growths are not natural. Some appear to have been deliberately planted or cultivated along the cavern walls. Among them, he spots a patch of faintly shimmering mushrooms that emit a faint, silvery light. These could be rare or magical in nature, potentially useful if harvested carefully. Brock's survival, 20. Brock studies the ground and the tracks left by kobolds. He identifies that the majority of the tracks lead downward into another tunnel on the far side of the cavern. However, he also notices a secondary, fainter set of tracks heading toward the largest pool of water. These tracks are unusual, larger and clawed, not made by kobolds. Kalen approaches Brock, frowning as he explains. Something big's been through here. Could be guarding whatever the kobolds were protecting. The group now has several options. Investigate the shimmering mushrooms. Mars spotted. Follow the primary kobold tracks. Deeper into the mines. Explore the pool of water and investigate the strange tracks Brock found. What will the group do next?
I think this is where we split up. So Mars Mars offers some familiar advice and says, "Is this where we split up? Or are we encountering a large creature of sorts?"
Time of day around 12:25 p.m. Mars looks between the mushrooms, the kobold tracks and the pool of water, his voice cautious but curious. So, is this where we split up? Or are we all about to encounter something big and nasty guarding this place? Those tracks Brock found don't look like they belong to anything small. Kaelin crosses her arms, her green eyes scanning the cavern. Splitting up might let us cover more ground, but it's a gamble. If we're dealing with a large creature, we'll want every blade, bow and hammer together. Thrain grunts, gripping his warhammer. If something big is down here, I'd rather we meet it as a group. Better odds. Lareth smirks, his bow already half drawn. I say we pick one path and stick to it. That way we don't leave anyone outnumbered. The group awaits a decision. Stick together and choose one of the three options: mushrooms, kobold tracks, or pool. Split up with Mars and Brock checking one path and the others checking another. What's the call?
Brock will look to Kaelin and ask her if she knows what this big creature could be. After all, this is her job. This was her idea, not Cleveland.
Time of day, around 12:30.
Oh, okay.
Time of day, around 12:30 p.m. Brock turns to Kaelin, his expression serious as he leans on his great axe. You're the one who got us into this, Kaelin. You said you had knowledge of these mines. Any idea what this big creature might be? If it's something we need to deal with, I'd rather know now. Kaelin raises an eyebrow but doesn't flinch under Brock's questioning. Fair enough, Brock. The truth is, I don't know exactly what's down here, but I've heard stories, rumors of kobolds working with something bigger, like a guard dog for their treasures. Could be a drake, a giant lizard, or even something worse. If those tracks are fresh, we'll likely find out soon enough. Lareth mutters under his breath. Drake or worse, that's not exactly reassuring. Kaelin looks at the group. If we stick together, we'll have the strength to deal with it. But if you want to scout ahead and confirm, that's your call. What will the group do next? Stick together and investigate a path, or scout ahead cautiously?
Mars and Brock agree we should stick together at this point.
Time of day, around 12:35. Mars nods toward Brock, lowering his bow slightly. Yeah, sticking together seems like the smart move here. If we're dealing with something big, we'll need all the help we can get. Brock grunts in agreement, hefting his great axe. Good. I'm not keen on getting picked off one by one down here. Let's handle this as a team. Kaelin smiles faintly, gesturing toward the cavern. All right then. The question is, what's our priority? The glowing mushrooms, the kobold tracks, or the pool with the clawed prints? The group waits for a decision on which path to explore first. What's the call?
Mars does suggest that we should follow through and continue taking out the kobolds. The more we get rid of these cockroaches, then we can take care of the big one. Cockroaches?
Time of day around 12:40. Mars steps forward, scanning the kobold tracks leading deeper into the cavern. We should keep following these tracks and take out as many kobolds as we can. The more of these cockroaches we deal with now, the fewer we'll have to worry about when we face whatever big thing is waiting for us. Brock grins, tightening his grip on his great axe. Now that's a plan I can get behind. Let's clear them out. Kalen nods in agreement. All right, we stick to the kobold tracks. Just be ready. If we're heading deeper into their territory, they'll know these tunnels better than we do. Stay sharp. The group begins to follow the kobold tracks into the darker, colder tunnel. The air grows heavier with each step, and the faint sound of chittering echoes through the passage. Skill check. As you follow the tracks, someone can roll Perception DC 14 to spot potential traps or ambushes, or Survival DC 13 to track any shifts in the kobold's movements. Let me know who rolls and their result.
Perception from Mars. Nice. Mars rolled perception 19.
Mars's perception roll, 90. Mars's keen eyes catch the faint glint of something along the floor of the tunnel, a tripwire, nearly invisible in the dim light, stretched across the path. Following it carefully, he spots the mechanism it's connected to. A set of jagged rocks hanging precariously above, ready to drop on anyone who trips the wire. He halts the group with a raised hand, pointing to the trap. Hold up. They've got a nasty surprise waiting for us. Trip that wire, and we'll have a rockfall to deal with. Kalen steps up, studying the mechanism. Good catch. That's kobold craftsmanship, all right? Simple but deadly. Should we disarm it or try to slip past without touching it? The group has two options. Disarm the trap with a sleight of hand, DC 13 check. Avoid the trap with a dexterity save, DC 15, as the group carefully moves past. What's the call and who takes the lead?
Sleight of hand. Mars will disarm. Sleight of hand 19.
Mars's sleight of hand roll, 19. Mars crouches near the tripwire, his nimble fingers working quickly and carefully to disable the mechanism. With a few precise movements, he loosens the tension on the wire and disconnects the trigger from the precarious rocks above. The trap is now harmless. Kalen smirks as Mars stands. Impressive work, Elf. That could have been messy. Thrain grunts approvingly. One less problem to worry about. Let's hope the rest of their tricks are this easy to handle. With the trap disarmed, the path ahead is clear. The kobold tracks grow fresher as you continue down the tunnel, and faint chittering grows louder, suggesting you're closing in on their next group. What does the group do? Proceed cautiously, prepare for an ambush, or plan a surprise attack of their own?
I forgot to loot. We just walked by 3 dead kobolds again, like for the 5th time or 3rd, 4th time in a row. DM, I forgot to loot. If we did, what did we find? Yeah, okay. So, let's see. Mars will take the horn itself, a crude horn, not worth much in gold, but useful distraction. I'll take the horn, actually. Mars will take that, because that was his kill. So 4 gold pieces, looks like. Okay. And then 3 copper coins. All right. And then the horn. Where's something carved? All right, let's see. I don't know if there's a horn per se. Okay, yeah, there is. All right, so we have a horn gear, backpack, and then for Brock, he'll just take the 5 copper pieces left over from the 3rd cobalt. Let's see, 5 copper pieces. Mars did take the horn and the rest of the currency back to where we left off.
Time of day, around 12:45. Mars takes the crude signalling horn, tucking it into his pack with a thoughtful nod. Might come in handy later, if we need to distract or confuse any of these kobolds. The coins are divided among the group for simplicity, with the rest of the items, the bone trinket and the herbs, stored in Kalen's pouch for potential future use.
Okay.
With the loot sorted, the group regathers where they left off, ready to continue deeper into the tunnel. Current party loot: Mars signal horn, Kalen bone trinket, pouch of herbs. Group fund: 4 gold coins, 8 copper coins. The kobold tracks lead further into the dark, and the faint chittering sounds grow louder, indicating another group ahead. The disarmed trap sits harmlessly behind you. What's the plan now? Proceed cautiously, prepare for a fight, or attempt to ambush the kobolds ahead?
Hmm. Mars mentions to the team that he thinks he hears more kobolds up ahead, to no surprise. Okay.
Time of day, around 12:50 p.m. Mars raises a hand to pause the group, his ears straining toward the faint chittering sounds echoing down the tunnel. "I think I hear more kobolds up ahead," he whispers. Not that it's much of a surprise. They're probably expecting company after we've already cut through their numbers. Kayla nods, her daggers glinting faintly in the dim light. No doubt they'll try to make up for it with more traps or a tighter ambush. We'll need to be smart about this. Thrain grunts, hefting his warhammer. Smart or not, I'm ready to smash anything that tries to block our way. Options: Mars.
Okay, let's do something different. Haven't done this in a while, but we'll do a story hack. I'm gonna do something quite different for the story. Because these repetitive kobold encounters are, common, but becoming too common in my taste. Story hack. Let's make a surprise here for the team. This isn't just an ordinary kobold pack. Any skill checks first? Mars decides to scout ahead. Scout ahead. Scalty.
Time of day, around 12:50. Mars steps forward, his bow slung across his back as he moves into the shadows. The chittering ahead grows louder, but something about the tone is different. There's a deeper growl mixed in, low and rumbling, that sends a shiver up his spine. He signals to the group to remain behind, determined to scout ahead and uncover the truth. Skill check. Mars must roll stealth DC 15 to approach unnoticed. If he succeeds, he can then roll perception DC 14 to assess the scene.
All right.
Let me know the result of his stealth roll first.
Oh, that's not gonna be good. Oh my gosh, that's a failure. Good. We need some. I need some excitement here. We need something ripping, engaging. Stealth, critical fumble, +5. Ah,
Mars's stealth roll, natural 1. As Mars steps forward, his foot catches on a loose stone, sending it clattering loudly down the tunnel. The sound echoes like a warning bell, and the chittering ahead stops abruptly. For a moment, all is silent, eerily so. Then, from the darkness, a guttural roar shakes the cavern. Heavy footsteps thunder toward Mars, and glowing red eyes pierce through the dim light. This isn't just kobolds. It's a drake, a scaled beast with
nice.
thick armored hide, accompanied by at least 4 kobolds
Oh,
that chitter and shriek orders at it. The drake charges forward, its
45.
claws scraping the stone floor, while the kobolds scatter into defensive positions, clutching slings and daggers. Combat begins. Drake, AC 14, HP 45. Kobold 1-4, AC 12, HP 5 each. Mars is closest to the enemies, about 30 feet from the drake and kobolds, while the rest of the team is about 60 feet behind him. What's the plan? Roll for initiative for Mars and Brock, and I'll roll for the enemies and allies.
HP 45. I had to open my yapper and mention, let's try something different. Gosh. Okay, good. This is exactly why I play this and have the ability to hack the game story or the adventure itself. So I'm rolling for initiative for Brock, yeah, or Mars and Brock. So let's do this. 3, okay, 13 plus a 5, and then we have 18. So 18 and 16. Nice. Mars 18, Brock 16. At least they're high up there, so we might be able to start first. Hopefully one of our characters does. I don't think this is gonna work. Hopefully it realizes that. I'll put that in the instructions. If Python fails because it's not in there right now, then just to randomize the numbers. Yeah. So it will just have to do it again.
It appears the rolling functionality reset again. Based on Mars's 18 and Brock's 16, we can proceed with an assumed initiative order, or I can manually calculate for the other creatures and allies. Would you like me to approximate or finalize the order manually with alternate methods? Let me know.
Yeah, so let's approximate the order like before. That's fine. I'm totally fine with that. I figure the Drake goes
Initiative
next.
order, approximation. 1 Mars 18, 2 Drake, 3 Kobolds 4 Brock, 16, 5 Kalen 6 Lareth 7 Thrain. Mars's turn. Mars is closest to the Drake and Kobolds, standing
AC
about 30
14.
feet from the enemies. The Drake appears to be the primary threat, with the Kobolds moving into defensive positions around it. What will Mars do? Attack, reposition, or try a different tactic?
Mars will use his longbow. Oh, ah. Hopefully it gets what I'm saying. 15. Okay, yep, it knew.
Mars will use his longbow to attack the Drake, knowing it's the primary threat and needs to be weakened quickly. He steps back slightly, steadies his aim, and
Just
fires a
hits.
well-placed arrow at the charging beast. Roll for attack. 1d20 plus 5 for the longbow, and let me know the result.
Roll a 15 for attack. Oh, damage.
Mars's attack roll 15. Mars's arrow flies true, striking the Drake in a weak point between its armored scales. The beast snarls in pain, its red eyes blazing with fury as it shifts its focus toward him. Roll for damage. 1d8 plus 3 for the longbow, and let me know the total.
Damage of 8.
Mars's attack roll 15. Mars's arrow flies true, striking the Drake in a weak point between its armored
Oh,
scales. The beast snarls in pain. Drake's bite attack roll 20. The Drake snaps its jaws at Mars, its sharp teeth finding purchase despite Mars's attempt to
uh,
dodge. Damage roll. The Drake deals 2d6 plus 3 piercing damage. Mars will need to brace for the impact. Would you like to calculate this manually or use a quick approximation?
I'll probably just roll for the AI. That's a hit. That's a critical. All right, the Drake snaps at jaws at Mars with sharp teeth. The damage roll deals. It does look like it worked, the roll, so let's try again. If your roll did work in the last prompt, try it for the damage. It looks like it did. Uh,
It seems the roll didn't go through again. Let's calculate the Drake's damage manually. Rolling 2d6 plus 3, start Manus. First d6, 4 force captured. Second d6, 3 total. 4 plus 3 plus 3 equals 10 piercing damage. Mars takes 10 damage
heavy.
as the Drake's
Oh,
bite sinks into his side. The force of the attack leaves a deep wound, but Mars remains standing, ready for the fight. Kobold's turn. The 4 kobolds chatter wildly and scatter into defensive positions. 2 ready slings to fire at the group approaching from behind, while the other 2 charge toward Mars with daggers raised. What does the team do next? Brock will act after the kobolds, unless you'd like to adjust the combat sequence. Let me know.
all right. So it looks like Mars is out. He is down to 0 HP. Should I do a death save? or wait till next turn? Man, that's harsh. Again, I called for it. I'm like, hey, let's put something different in there. And then all of a sudden, yeah, I'll put it as 45 HP Drake. Man, testing from the start of each of turns. So, okay.
When a character drops to 0 HP, they immediately fall unconscious and begin making death saving throws at the start of each of their turns. Mars will roll his first death save at the beginning of his next turn unless someone stabilizes or heals him before then.
Mm.
Options for the team. Stabilize Mars. Any character adjacent to Mars can use their action to make a medicine check, DC 10, to stabilize him. This prevents further death saves but doesn't restore HP. Heal Mars. If someone has a healing potion or spell, it can bring him back into the fight immediately. Focus on the fight. The team can try to eliminate the threats quickly to ensure Mars isn't in further danger. Let me know how the team wants to proceed, and we'll resolve the next actions.
Let's stick with the turn order. Kobolds are next. Damn.
When a character drops to 0 HP, they immediately fall unconscious and begin making... Let's manually calculate the Kobold's sling attacks. Kobold 1 at Brock, rolling 1d20 plus 4, 11 plus 4. Kobold 2 at Kalen, rolling 1d20 plus 4, 8 plus 4 equals 12. Results: against Brock 15 hits if his AC is 15 or lower.
Mm.
Against Kalen, 12 misses as her AC is 14. If Brock takes a hit, I'll calculate the sling damage, a 1d4 plus 2 next. Let me know if his AC allows the Kobold's attack to land.
Luckily, no. Brock's AC is 16, so it's a miss.
Kobold sling attacks. Both miss. The Kobold slingers fire their jagged stones, but their aim falters under the pressure of the advancing group. The stone aimed at Brock glances harmlessly off his armor, while the one meant for Kalen sails past her shoulder, shattering against the cavern wall. The dagger-wielding kobolds near Mars hiss and ready themselves to intercept anyone who approaches. Brock's turn. Brock is up next, standing 30 feet from the Drake and the kobolds near Mars. He sees Mars unconscious and the enemies gathered around him. What does Brock do? Charge into melee, focus on the Drake, or attempt another tactic?
Brock will scream Mars's name and rush to help him. What can he do?
Time of day, around 12:55 p.m. Brock charges toward Mars, his booming cry echoing through the cavern. Mars, hold on, lad. With his movement, Brock can close the 30-foot distance to Mars and reach his side. Here's what he can do. 1. Stabilize Mars. Use an action to make a medicine check, DC 10, to stabilize him, stopping the death saves but leaving him unconscious. 2. Attack nearby enemies. Use his action to strike one of the dagger-wielding kobolds threatening Mars. This would prevent further harm to Mars, but he'd need someone else to stabilize or heal Mars later. 3. Rage and attack. If Brock enters Rage as a bonus action, he gains resistance to damage and could focus on clearing the area while protecting Mars. What's Brock's priority? Let me know his plan.
I thought I had a potion, but I don't have any, so I'll have to do a medicine. 14. Okay, 15. Mars will do a medicine check. He rolled 15. That's a lot.
Since rolling remains unavailable, I'll manually calculate Kalen's dagger attacks.
Okay, let's see.
Brock's medicine check, 15, success. Brock drops to his knees beside Mars, his large hands surprisingly steady as he assesses the situation. With quick and practiced movements, he stabilizes Mars, stopping the bleeding and ensuring his unconscious friend is no longer in immediate danger. Mars is now stabilized but remains unconscious with 0 HP. He will no longer need to make death saving throws and will regain consciousness after 1d4 hours, or sooner if healed. Kalen shouts from behind, "Good work, Brock. Now let's make sure they don't get another chance to hurt him." Kalen's turn. Kalen moves up quickly to assist, targeting the nearest kobold with her daggers. Rolling for her attacks.
Okay, so her attack rolls hit, and then damage 7-2. 8 damage. So Dragon's cut to the kobold, dropping instantly 1 down. Good. Lareth's turn. Takes aim at the Drake with a short bow, attempting to weaken the beast further. Shall proceed to. Yep. Yes, let's continue using approximations. Approximations, approximations. Wow, that's quite a bit.
Lareth's turn. Lareth nocks an arrow and takes aim at the Drake, his sharp eyes locking on the beast's exposed side. Lareth's attack roll. Rolling 1d20 plus 6 right pointing arrow, 17 plus 6 equals 23, hit. Damage roll. Rolling 1d6 plus 4 right pointing arrow, 3 plus 4 equals 7 damage. The arrow strikes the Drake just below its neck, eliciting a deep, guttural snarl. The beast's movements slow slightly as the wounds begin to take their toll, but it's still standing strong, its rage clearly building. Thrain's turn. Thrain charges forward, his warhammer raised high, and targets the remaining dagger-wielding kobold near Mars. Thrain's attack roll. Rolling 1d20 plus 4 right-pointing arrow, 12 plus 4 equals 16, hit. Damage roll. Rolling 1d8 plus 2 right-pointing arrow, 5 plus 2 equals 7 damage. Thrain's warhammer crashes down on the kobold, crumpling it instantly. He glances at Brock and Mars, shouting, "The way's clear." Focus on the Drake. Drake's turn. The Drake, now heavily injured, roars and lunges at the nearest threat, Thrain. It lashes out
Ooh,
with a bite. Drake's attack roll. Rolling 1d20 plus 5 right-pointing arrow, 13 plus 5 equals 18, hit. Damage roll. Rolling 2d6 plus 3 right-pointing arrow, 4 plus 5 plus 3 equals 12 damage. Thrain grunts as the Drake's teeth sink into his shoulder, blood seeping through his armor, but he
ooh,
remains standing, determined to finish the fight. Back to Mars's turn. Mars remains unconscious and
right.
stabilized. Brock's turn. Brock can now take action. Does he attack the Drake, engage another tactic, or prepare to defend? Let me know
Probably,
his plan.
probably attack. Trying to find out where that 1d4 info. So we're gonna have 1d4 hours. Okay. All right. So Brock will attack the Drake. Brock will attack the Drake. He'll use rage at his friend's sacrifice. Let's see, how do we do this? So don't use this much often. Rage. Okay. Oh, no, I'm supposed to roll. Redo. I'll take care of the rolling for the player characters, but I will start with rage. All right.
Understood. Brock enters Rage, gaining the following benefits. 1. +2 melee damage with strength-based weapons. 2. Resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage. 3. Advantage on strength checks and saving throws. With Rage active, Brock can now attack the Drake. Roll for attack with his Great Axe, 1d20 plus 5, and let me know the result.
15. Okay. Attack roll of 15. I think it was telling me that actually. Oh, well, Yeah, it did do the actions on my character. Damage roll. Yeah, that's okay. That's like the first time it's done that by mistake. But that's fine. Okay, 1d12. Oh, I redid it 15. Okay, before the new one comes out. So 15. Was that? No, that was not my damage roll. My apologies. 8. Damage of 8. Or 10. No, 5. Okay. I can't really tell if I did it right, but that's okay. Moving on.
Brock's damage, 8 total. Brock's great AXE slams into the drake, the force of the blow splitting scales and driving deep into its flesh. The drake roars in pain, staggering under the assault. It's barely standing now, blood pooling beneath it as its movements grow sluggish and desperate. Kalen shouts, "It's almost done. Finish it off before it can strike back." The drake is critically injured and hanging by a thread. The rest of the group is poised to act. What's the plan? Continue with the current initiative order, or let Brock push for the final blow?
Continue with the initiative order. Let's stick with the rules. Unless they wanted us to break them. Caitlin's turn. See, I don't mind these approximations or guesses, but it does play in favor of our characters.
Initiative order continues. Kalen's turn. Seeing the drake on its last legs, Kalen moves quickly into position, her daggers glinting in the dim light. She aims to deliver the killing blow. Kalen's attack rolls. Main hand, rolling 1d20 plus 5 right pointing arrow 14 plus 5 equals 19, hit. Offhand, rolling 1d20 plus 5 right pointing arrow 9 plus 5 equals 14, hit. Both daggers strike true.
Nice.
Damage rolls. Main hand, 1d4 plus 3, rolling right pointing arrow 3 plus 3 equals 6 damage. Offhand, 1d4, rolling right pointing arrow 4 damage. Total damage, 10. Kalen's daggers plunge into the drake's exposed side, and with a final, deafening roar, the beast collapses to the ground, motionless. The cavern falls eerily silent, save for the faint chittering of the kobolds retreating into the tunnels. Combat over. Kalen wipes her blades and steps back, glancing at the rest of the group. That was closer than I'd like. Everyone all right? Mars remains unconscious but stabilized, while Thrain is bloodied but standing. Brock is still in a furious rage but unharmed. What does the group do next? Tend to Mars, inspect the drake, or prepare for more kobolds?
Brock will suggest that we should retreat momentarily to recover, to care for Mars and our other ally. Also loot. Brock will loot the Drake. Before I forget again.
Time of day around 1 p.m. Brock, still catching his breath, growls, "We should fall back for now. Mars needs tending, and Thrain doesn't look much better. No sense charging ahead in this state. Let's regroup, recover, and then finish the job." Kalen nods in agreement. "Fair. Let's loot what we can and get out of this cavern for now. The kobolds won't come after us if they know what's good for them." Brock's looting the drake. The drake is a powerful beast, and its body may hold valuable materials. Let's determine the loot. 1d4 drake scales, valuable for crafting or trade. 1d6 drake teeth, can be sold or crafted into weapons. A chance for rare material, a drake's gland used in alchemy. Rolling manually, drake scales, 3 scales. Drake teeth, 4 teeth. Rare material chance, 1d20 15 plus for success, rolling 16, success. Brock finds a drake fire gland, a rare and valuable alchemical component.
Oh.
Summary of drake loot. 3 drake scales, valuable for crafting or trade. 4 drake teeth, trade or weapon crafting. Drake fire gland, rare alchemical component. Kalen and Lareth loot the kobolds, finding small trinkets and coins. Kobold loot, 8 copper coins total, a crude iron dagger, a small pouch of glowing powder, unknown use. With the loot gathered, the group can retreat to a safer area to rest and recover. Rest options. A short rest, 1 hour to recover HP using hit dice. A long rest, 8 hours for full recovery and spell slots. What's the group's plan?
So I'm going to add that item there. Heck. Let's see, 3 Drake scales. Okay, so we have 3 Drake scales. Oh, quantity. Oops. Drake scales. 3 of those. Add. Backpack. And then we have the 4 Drake teeth. Backpack. Okay. Let's see. We'll take a short rest for now. Or a long rest, actually, if we can. We will take a short rest in a safe area. Does this heal Mars a bit? Is he conscious? Let's see. Okay. So let's see. Yep. All right. I love that. It all works out perfectly in this D&D Beyond. And then for Brock, short rest. I don't think, well, besides the what's it doing anyways? Is he still enraged? All right, we'll take him off of that. So he's back to 5. Okay. Brock is out of rage. Mars is back conscious at 5 HP, half of 10. Okay, so he's back at least. All right, let's hear this before we close this episode.
Short rest results. Mars regains consciousness with 5 HP, feeling weak but stable. As his eyes flutter open, he sees the group gathered around, taking a much-needed breather. Brock comes down from his rage, now calm but still battle-ready. The group sits in a safer part of the tunnels, the faint sounds of kobold chittering now distant. Kalen glances at Mars as he stirs. Welcome back. You gave us a bit of a scare there. Thrain, still blooded, chuckles. That Drake wasn't a bad warm-up. What's next? The group now has options. Plan their next move and continue deeper into the mines. Further inspect the glowing powder and other loot from the kobolds. Discuss strategy for potential upcoming challenges. What's the group's next step?
We will close the session here. What XP do both of our characters get? Because I'm curious. Let's see what Mars gets. 100 each. Which means I'm pretty sure they will level up. Yep, Mars will level up here. So 100. Level 2. Nice. And then Brock, 100 XP. Changes. Close, literally steps away for leveling up. So I believe that is also a change. I'll take care of it, the character sheet related things like upgrading him and etc. advancement. But let's see, it's asking if I want to make a campaign now. So, which I can do again after recording. But that's really it. This was exciting. I'm so glad I made that little story tweak. We fought a Drake, and yeah, I enjoyed the latter half of it was terrific. So, and I hope you guys did too. This was definitely a longer than I expected episode, which is great. Everything's been great. So thanks for watching as always, and I'll see you guys next time on Exeter.